Hello students and viewers, welcome again today to our online lessons coming to you from St. Charles College, Onitsha in Anambra State here. This is Agricultural Science for SS2 students and the topic is Livestock Management. I am still your teacher, Mrs. Idemili. Now listen very well to the lesson because as we come to the end of it, you are going to answer the following questions for me. Number 1, explain the meaning of livestock management. 2, explain the following terms in poultry management: cockerel, treeding, broiler, layer, pullet, capon. Number 3, list the 3 systems in poultry management and explain them briefly. And lastly, list any 6 features of a good layer. Now to the lesson. Meaning of livestock management. Livestock management are those activities carried out by the farmer in order to rear farm animals for optimum production. We are going to specialize today on poultry management. Now, what is poultry management? Poultry, first of all, refers to a group of birds reared for food and other purposes by the farmer. Poultry birds include chickens, turkey, geese, guinea fowl, and duck. Poultry birds are monogastric animals, and they are kept because they supply man with major 3 products, namely meat, egg, and manure. There are some terms that we must come across as we go on with these lessons today. These terms are used in poultry production, and they include day-old chick. Any chick under 2 weeks of age is called a day-old chick. Chick, a fowl within 2 weeks and 6 weeks old. Hen, a female bird above 1 year. Pullet, a female bird below 1 year of age. Cockerel, a male bird below 1 year of age. Capon, a castrated male bird. Caponization. This is a process of castration in the poultry. Treeding, the act of mating in fowl. Grower, fowl between 7 and 19 weeks of age. Layer, female fowl kept for egg production. Broiler, fowl for meat production. Clutch, a group of young chicks. Flock, a group of fowls. And chicken, meat from fowl. Breeds of domestic fowls, that is the chicken. The breeds of fowls have common ancestors, that is the primitive fowl called gallus. The various breeds of fowl are classified into 3 according to the purposes why the farmers keep them. And they are classified into these classes. A, egg producers. These are those ones that are kept just for egg production. Their breeds include the white leghorn and the brown leghorn. Then the meat producers, the ones we call the broilers. These are kept just because they give us meat. They are very, very fast converters of feed. They convert the feed you give to them into meat in a very short while. And their examples include the Sussex, the Cornish, and the Cochin. The dual purpose ones. These are the ones that are kept for dual purposes, that is for meat production and for egg production. They include the Rhode Island Red, which is shortened to RIR. WAEC will always ask you in the OBJ to say what is the full meaning of RIR. It means Rhode Island Red. Another breed for the dual purpose is the Plymouth Rock, the New Hampshire, but the best egg producer is the white leghorn. Poultry equipment and their uses. In poultry production, There are so many equipment that are needed by the farmer in order to be effective in that job. One, the follows. The follows is for housing the birds. The battery cage. The battery cage is for housing mainly the laying hens. The beakers. The beakers are used for reducing the length of the beaks of the poultry birds. The incubators. The incubator supplies warmth to the fertile egg during incubation. Remember, in our previous lesson in the classroom, we talked about incubation of eggs, which takes up to 21 days for the egg to be properly incubated. It is done with an equipment called the incubator. Then the cannula. This is for checking eggs for fertility. The buckets. Buckets are used in getting water into the poultry. The feeders or hoppers for feeding the birds. The drinkers are for provision of drinking water for the animals. Then the hypodermic syringe or the needle. This is for injecting the birds in order to control diseases. Nesting box for laying eggs by the layers. Crib feed, coop and run. This is for housing the brooding hen. Then the brooder for provision of warmth during brooding. Mash box for feeding young chicks. Egg trays or crates for collection and storage of eggs. Roast or perch for resting and sleeping on by the birds. Broom for sweeping out the waste that are collected within their poultry house. Shovel for removing poultry waste. And wheelbarrow for carrying feeds or waste to and from the poultry house. Systems of poultry management. There are three main systems of managing the poultry. The first and the common one with the peasant farmers are the extensive system. Here, the fowls are allowed to roam about in search of food and water. They are on their own, looking for food and for water. They can also be called free-range system. This system of extensive management of poultry birds can also be referred to as free-range system. The birds are allowed to free access to grasses and termites and all the insects they can pick around. In the night, the birds are confined to a hut, and during unfavorable weather conditions, they can also find shelter under the trees, the bushes, the hedges within the range. Advantages of extensive or the free-range system. 1. It is cheaper. It is a cheap method of rearing poultry birds. 2. It reduces the incidence of Ecto parasites, which is very common where animals are packed in a place. 3. Fowls get vitamins and minerals from the grasses they consume, thereby promoting resistance to diseases. Number 4, no accommodation is required for housing the birds. Disadvantages of extensive or the free-range system. It requires large labor force to collect eggs because they lay eggs anywhere, which means there must be labor to be able to collect these eggs from where they have been laid. 2, it exposes the birds to thieves and predators. People can easily get rid of these birds, steal them, or whatever. 3, the output is usually very low. And then 4, it exposes the birds to bad weather conditions. Now, the second system of rearing poultry birds is the semi-intensive system. Here, the birds are kept in a fixed poultry house, which has a run attached to it. The run is an area of land enclosed by a fence of wire netting on posts. The fowls move about in the runs during the day, taking green plants and insects. A good example of semi-intensive is the fold unit system. Advantages of the semi-intensive system or the fold unit system. 1, the birds are safe from the attack of wild animals. 2, the birds have access to natural vegetation, which provides them with vitamins and their minerals. 3, the birds are also protected from adverse weather conditions. 4, the birds are kept in small groups, thereby making other management practices very easy, like culling, debeaking, inoculation, and so on. Number 5, the system requires less labor in locking the birds up at night. And then number 6, the outbreak of diseases can easily be identified and birds easily isolated from the other group. Disadvantages of the fold system or the semi-intensive system. This method is costly when you compare it with the free-range system, especially in housing. Number 2, it can lead to low egg production because the birds are not well fed. Number 3, it can also lead to high cost of feeding the birds if the farmer is bringing in feeds for the birds. Number 4, vices like egg pecking, cannibalism, and feather picking may occur amongst the birds. Number 5, it is labor intensive. With the daily moving of the foals, more labor is also required to fix the birds in small units. Now, the third method of rearing poultry is the intensive system. In this system, the birds are kept indoors all through their lives. There is high stocking density, that is, large number of birds can be kept inside a building, and no access to pasture and sunlight. Feed, water, and medications are supplied to the birds. There are 2 examples of intensive system of poultry management. The first one is the deep litter system, and the second one is the battery cage system. Now let's look at the deep litter system. In this system, birds are confined in a deep litter house, which consists of 1 meter high wall and concrete floor with corrugated iron or asbestos roofing. The floor is usually covered with deep layer of fine straw, maize husk, or wood shavings, and never with sawdust. Why do we say that sawdust is not good to be used as litter in the deep litter system of poultry management? Is because the fine dust contains very tiny particles which can easily cause moldy. And when it becomes moldy, it can be a source of disease infection in the poultry. Birds can easily inhale the tiny particles of this sawdust, thereby causing them to develop respiratory diseases. Their droppings fall on the litter, and the litter is changed periodically. Feeding and water troughs are placed as strategic points in the animal house. Advantages of the deep litter system. Birds are protected from bad weather conditions. Number 2, it also maximizes the use of labor. That is, the person uses less labor to attend to an entire number of birds at the same time. 3, it facilitates the management of very large flock. Number 4, it increases efficiency in poultry management. Number 5, it reduces the loss of eggs due to thieves and predators. And number 6, it is easy to identify sick birds so that they can easily be culled. Number 7, it maximizes the use of land. Disadvantages of deep litter system. Number 1, the cost of constructing the house is very high. Number 2, there is wastage of feeds by the birds. Number 3, cannibalism and egg pecking are common in deep litter system. Number 4, the litter makes eggs dirty. When you see dirty eggs in the bucket, then suspect that the birds that produce the eggs are reared in a deep litter system. Number 5, it is difficult to catch birds in deep litter houses. Assuming you want to do some management practices like debeaking, inoculation or vaccination or culling, it is very difficult to catch birds there because there is space for them to be running about. Number 6, it is difficult to detect unproductive birds for culling. Number 7, there is high disease spread in deep litter system because of the number of birds kept together inside the same house. Number 8, the cost of litter also increases the cost of production. Now, the second method of intensive system of poultry management is the battery cage system. Here, the birds are confined in cages with floors of wire mesh sloping from the back to the front so that eggs can easily roll out of the cage into the receiving gutter as they are laid and can easily be picked up by the farmer. Advantages of the battery cage system. Culling is made easier in battery cage system. 2, this system saves time and labor. 3, it can also save space for the farmer. Number 4, it can also help in disease control as birds are not in contact with their droppings. Number 5, feed wastage is removed with this method. Number 6, there is less noise in the poultry, leading to high feed conversion efficiency. That is, birds can easily feed and then convert their feed into eggs in a very short while. Number 7, cleaner eggs are obtained in this method. Disadvantage of the battery cage system. The equipment may be very, very expensive to procure. Number 2, sometimes the eggs are cracked. When they drop on that material that is used in making the cage, they can easily crack. 3, the birds may be bored of staying at a place, and this may lead to stress, and stress may lead to low production of eggs. Number 4, the battery cage is unsuitable for other purposes. It is just for one purpose, for laying hens alone. Number 5, sick and unproductive birds can not easily be detected because they are not moving around. So the farmer cannot easily detect birds that are sick. Features of a good layer. It has a soft and pliable abdomen. It has a short beak. Another one is that a good layer has a broad and square head. A good layer has a bright and bulging eyes. A good layer has a smooth and lean face. It has a large and thick comb. Another quality is that it has a bright comb and wattles. Another one is that it has a wide, moist cloaca. Then it has pale-colored shanks. There is absence of cannibalistic tendency. That is, it doesn't peck egg or peck fellow hen. Then lastly, a good layer is not aggressive in nature. Some poultry management practices. These are some practices that are usually carried out by the farmer in the management of the poultry. A, breeding and hatching. Fertilized eggs are incubated for 21 days using incubators in adequate temperature, ventilation, and relative humidity. B, brooding. This is the process of managing the chicks from the first day of age till 6 weeks of age. And it is a process through which warmth is usually provided for the young chicks because their feathers are not yet well formed. C, housing. The chicks, after hatching, are sent to the brooder house. At the end of the 6th week, they are then transferred to the grower's house. From 7 to 28 weeks, the birds are now called growers. Then from 21st weeks, the birds now are called layers, and they are reared in layers' house. Reasons for good housing in poultry. 1, it increases the productivity of birds. 2, it protects the birds from diseases. 3, it protects the birds against adverse weather conditions. 4, it protects the birds from thieves. 5, it also protects the birds from the attack of wild animals and reptiles. Number 6, good housing makes management very easy. Number D is feeding. The feed given to chicks are called chicks mash, which has plenty of proteins for fast growth. The growers are giving growers mash, and it is given to the birds from the 7th to 20th weeks of age. Once you stop giving chick mash at the 6th week, you change over to growers mash from the 7th week until the 20th week. The layers are fed with layers mash. The layers mash has high content of protein for proper growth and good egg formation. The mash also has high content of bone meal or oyster shell meal, which provides calcium and phosphorus for good eggshell formation. Number E is the healthcare and sanitation. To get good results in the poultry business, routine administration of drugs, vaccinations, and sanitation must be carried out as follows. The first is 1 to 7 days intraocular vaccination is given. That is the one given for Newcastle disease, known as NDV, which is Newcastle disease vaccination. Another one is given at age 18 days to 20 days. That one is Gumboro vaccine. This one is applied through the drinking water, and it is given against the Gumboro disease. Another one is given between 3 to 4 weeks of age, and it is another vaccination for Newcastle disease. It is given through the drinking water of the poultry birds. Another one is given between 3 to 4 weeks, and this one is fowlpox vaccine. It is given against the fowlpox disease. Another vaccine that is given at 6 weeks. This one is a repeat of the Newcastle disease. That is why it is called the NDV. That is the Newcastle disease vaccine. It is given in form of injection. Then at 8 weeks, another injection against Newcastle disease is given. The poultry house should be cleaned regularly and fed and water troughs washed to avoid the spread of diseases in the poultry. Ecto parasites should be controlled by regular dipping in insecticide solution. We have a structure known as animal dip in the animal house. Inside the dip, insecticide and water is usually mixed, and then the animals dip there regularly to control ectoparasite. Then the endoparasite should be controlled by regular deworming with the appropriate drugs. So my students, we've come to the end of our lessons today. Remember, we talked about systems of poultry management. The poultry is managed in 3 different ways, either through the intensive method, through the semi-intensive method, or through the extensive system, or what we call the free-range system. Now, answer the following questions for me. 1. Explain the meaning of livestock management. 2. Explain the following terms in poultry management: pullet, cockerel, capon, trading, broiler, layer. Then number 3 question, list the 3 systems in poultry management and explain them. Then number 4, list any features of a good layer. So you can now do the assignment and submit it via my WhatsApp contact number, which is 0806 983 2881. 0806 983 2881. Bye until we come your way again.